All right, so good morning. My name is Miss Wynn. I'm the elementary principal here at Alabama Virtual Academy. We are very pleased that you're joining us today for our parent information session on our new platform that we'll be using for our iReady for math placement assessments this year. Um, w- because of the Numeracy Act, we are required to use iReady for our diagnostic assessment this year so that we're in compliance with the requirements with the Numeracy Act. So today in our session, we're going to be talking about what iReady is and how the diagnostic works. We're going to understand how to support your child before, during, and after taking the diagnostic assessment. And we're going to show you how to prepare and motivate your students for the diagnostic to ensure that your data, that the data that we're getting is reliable. And we're also going to explore some resources that families can use to support iReady as we're using it remotely. So let's talk about iReady. What is iReady? iReady is an online program for mathematics that will help your students' teachers determine your students' needs, personalize their learning, and monitor their progress throughout the school year. iReady allows your teachers to meet your student exactly where they are and provides data to increase your students' learning gains. So let's take a minute to look at a little bit more about iReady. iReady was built from college and career readiness standards in mathematics. It is a program designed to meet many educator and student needs, and it connects rich assessment data to personalize digital learning and teacher-led instruction. It has three primary components: the iReady assessment, that provides comprehensive insight into student learning across kindergarten through 12th grade skills and pinpoint students' strengths and areas of need. It shows you aspirational and attainable goals for your student to put or keep them on a path toward proficiency or advanced proficiency levels. iReady Learning engages students through motivating, personalized mathematics instruction based on their assessed can-dos and next steps for instruction. And the third component is the teacher-led instruction. iReady provides your student's teacher with data to understand student performance and needs, and it provides your student's teacher with resources for whole class and small group instruction to accelerate student growth and grade level learning. The iReady Diagnostic is an adaptive assessment that adjusts its questions to suit your student's needs. Each item a student sees is individualized based on their answer to the previous question. The purpose of this diagnostic is not to give your student a score or a grade, but instead to determine how to best support your students' learning. And here at Alva, the only grade that students do receive for the iReady diagnostic is a participation grade, which means they logged into their session with their teacher, took the test, completed it, and then their teacher will give them a participation grade in the grade book for coming and doing that school requirement that we have here at Alva. Our Just to kind of explain how the adaptive process works, students begin the first diagnostic with an item one grade level below their actual grade. And as students answer correctly or incorrectly, the diagnostic adapts to more challenging or less challenging items. The diagnostic continues to adapt based on the student's responses. They will get about 50% of items correct and 50% incorrect. So I'm going to repeat that again. It is expected that they will get 50% of the items correct and 50% of them incorrect. iReady generates an overall performance level for each student in math. The information the diagnostic gathers from this process allows iReady to pinpoint where and why students are struggling. This helps your child's teacher provide instruction that's just right for your child. So, in other words, some questions will be hard, some will be easy, and some will be just right for your child, helping us to gather the information we need to target their needs. I very much think of Goldilocks and the Three Bears when we think about um, trying to find that perfect level of instruction for them. Teachers will receive Detailed reports that help them understand your students' learning strengths and needs. These are some examples of what those reports look like. And they will also receive a For Families report that they can share with you to help you understand your students' learning strengths and needs. There's even an Understanding Your Students iReady Diagnostic Results Guide that we're going to be sharing that link with you at the end of the session, where you can find that on our Learning Coach Corner. And this guide can help you understand your students' diagnostic results. I do have a video that I want to share with you today. So I'm going to get set up to share this with you.
Hi, my name is Mark Bernstein. I'm a National Director at Curriculum Associates, and we are the iReady people. For the student, iReady serves two functions. Number one, it's an online diagnostic assessment that pinpoints math and reading skills down to the sub-skill level. And number two, it's online learning that caters to a student's specific needs, whether those needs are on, above, or below level. I'd like to share 4 things you need to know about iReady. Number one, the iReady online assessment is adaptive in nature. This means that students see questions based on how they're performing. If a student struggles, the questions get easier. If a student is breezing through, the questions become more challenging. Once a student completes the diagnostic, the teacher will know exactly what the student needs, so it eliminates the necessity to overtest our children, thus allowing more time for teaching. Number two, the iReady online instruction is personalized to the individual. Once a student completes the diagnostic, his or her results will differ from classmates. So we give each student their own pathway based on diagnostic results. If the student needs help with reading comprehension, that student will get lessons to help. If the student has geometry skills above grade level, that student will receive geometry content that's above grade level. Support for those who have gaps to fill, enrichment for those who are exceeding grade level expectations. Number 3, iReady is not a grading tool. Your child won't get an A or C- based on how they perform in iReady. iReady supports students, challenges students, gives students math and reading content that is right at their level. iReady helps children to grow, but it is not used to assign grades. And number 4, iReady is not designed to replace the teacher. In every school district, teachers are an irreplaceable asset. iReady supports teachers by helping group students with similar needs for targeted instruction, what we call differentiation. Once small groups are established, iReady's Teacher Toolbox is just one of the many resources that teachers may use to provide targeted instruction. But replace the teacher? Never. Thank you very much for watching this video. We look forward to seeing your students succeed with iReady.
Okay, so let's talk about how we can, how there are ways that you can help prepare your student for the assessment um, to ensure a smooth test taking experience at home. So your student will have a teacher assigned testing time. The assessment and you can go to your Class Connect schedule to look. The teachers have already have those scheduled out. So this coming Thursday and Friday, we are taking STAR for reading. I know last year, if you're a returning parent, we took STAR for math and for reading, but we are having to shift to iReady to take our math because of the Numeracy Act. This is the vetted choice of benchmark assessments that they want students to take here in the state of Alabama for the Numeracy Act. So this coming Thursday and Friday, your students will see testing sessions on their daily schedule for the STAR reading assessment. And then next Thursday and Friday on the 22nd and the 23rd, you will already see the assigned times that your teachers have put on your schedule for your student to come for their assigned iReady testing session. The assessment typically takes about 45 to 60 minutes. There are brain breaks between the sections, so students can take a break, a short break, stand up, stretch, kind of move around, and then sit back down before they start the next domain. It's important that students should take the test in a private and quiet location, ideally away from any distractions. So you don't want the TV on, maybe younger or older siblings in the room that might be making some distracting noises. You want them to be able to focus and concentrate on what they're doing. And headphones are recommended for help with focus. And then you must have a working mic and camera on the computer. Those are required because your student will be placed into a breakout room in the teacher's session. The teacher will be rotating through those breakout rooms, assisting the student if they have any questions, just making sure that they're taking their test and on the right screen. So that it's like a proctored testing session that the teacher will do. Supplies that you'll need to gather before the test. Though this is an online test, the students are still going to need paper and pencil to work math problems. So we want to encourage them if there's a model they need to draw, a strategy to work out on that paper, a problem to write out and work out, we really want to encourage them to use that paper and pencil to do that and not try and do things mentally that if it's a problem that's not designed for mental math. So here are some questions that your students might ask you about the assessment, and here are some responses that you could give them. Why am I taking this test? And you can tell them we're taking this diagnostic so your teachers know what you can already do and what skills you need. Another question they may ask is why is it important to do my best? We want to make sure you get lessons that keep you learning and growing. And we want to make sure you get lessons that aren't too hard or boring. Another question they may ask is, what is the test like? The test adapts or changes as you take it. That means some questions might be hard, some may be easier. You'll probably get about half of the questions right. That means the test is working perfectly. Remember, you won't be graded or get a score. Once you're finished, your teacher will know how to help you grow. And then another question they may ask is, what if I don't know the answer? And you can tell them, try your best. Remember, some questions are going to be too hard, and it's okay if you don't know the answer. You select the answer you think is best and you keep moving on. Now we're going to talk about during the assessment, what to expect, what to look for when your child is logging in that proctor testing session with their teacher, and how to get into the platform. So the first step you'll want to do is to go to your Class Connect schedule on the day that you're scheduled to test, at that time that you're scheduled to test, and you'll click on the link just like you did from your Learning Coach account to come here. Your student will do that from their student account to go into their classroom with their teacher. When they enter that classroom, the teacher will go through some directions, and they'll give them a link for logging in, and they will put that in the chat box, and the student will click on that link, and they'll be taken to a login screen, and the teacher will provide them with their username and password and give them the directions on how to log into the iReady platform from that screen. Once students get logged into the platform, they will be given a survey, and it looks something like this. This is what the K2 dashboard looks like, but it's very similar to what it looks like for K through fifth grade. And it's going to ask you, are you taking this at school or home, or are you working in your school building today? And we will click no because we are taking the diagnostic at home, and then you'll click the green arrow to move on to the next screen. That next screen will look like this, and because we're only using iReady for math, the math symbols should be the only thing that pops up, but if it doesn't, if you see reading, just always make sure that your student is clicking the math signs because that is the assessment they'll be taking. And then on the next screen, they will see it'll say My Path, and it won't say reading diagnostic, it will say math diagnostic. So they'll click that big green button to start their diagnostic. Now, the very first time that students take a diagnostic, they have to watch a video. It's about 2 minutes, and then after they watch the video, they proceed to watching a video for each tool that's available for them in the diagnostic. So the video shows them how to use the tool, and they have to click on all of them before that start button will appear for them to be able to press start and go to the next screen. Once they have taken their first diagnostic, when they return to do like their middle of year assessment and their end of year assessment, they can opt to not watch the video or watch the tools. It allows them to skip this part. So the teachers have planned for these tutorials in their testing window times that they have put on your Class Connect schedule. This is what when your student finishes for second graders, this is what your confirmation screen will look like. They'll get a congratulatory message once the test is complete, and lessons will start to appear on their screen. If there is any question as to whether your student fully completed the assessment, make sure you confirm it with your teacher before you log out of your testing session. So you'll see this screen, you'll be in a breakout room with a chat box. You can message your teacher, let them know that you've gotten the confirmation screen. Make sure the teacher confirms that it's finished, and then if when your teacher confirms that you can log out, and then you'll log out of your iReady platform as well. This is what the congratulatory screen looks like for our third grade students. So it's a little different, a little bit more mature looking for our third graders. So it'll show that the diagnostic is complete. And again, just make sure that they confirm with their teacher before they log out that the teacher can see a confirmed test on their dashboard as well. So I skipped something. There we go. Effectively monitoring that diagnostic from home. You're going to make sure that your student is using their paper to show their work, because we want to make sure we're getting the best data we can get to make sure we know where your student is, so that your child's teacher will know how to meet their needs this year. If your student seems tired or starting to get frustrated, let them take that break during those brain breaks that come up. That'll come up after each domain, and let them get up, stretch, move around for a few minutes, and then come back and sit down. We do have a resource that I'll show you at the end on our Learning Coach page that gives you some supportive phrases that you can use before, during, and after the assessment. Um, you know, Before the assessment, you encourage them to try their best, not to rush, and not to spend too much time on a question. This test is not timed like the STAR test, so it won't move it won't time out and move to the next question. So you don't want them spending too much time on one question. Encourage them to use their scratch paper to show their work on each question before they begin. And then as you're kind of monitoring them throughout the assessment, you can encourage them and say, I can tell you're very focused. Keep up the good work. Great work. You're showing your work, you're doing you're taking your time showing your work, spending the correct amount of time on a question. If you notice that they're beginning to rush, you could say, I noticed you seem to be clicking through quickly. Remember to take your time and try your best. And if they're moving too slowly, then you could say, it seems like you're stuck on this one problem. It's okay if you don't know the answer. Just make your best guess and move on to the next question. If you start to see they're getting frustrated, mad, or upset, you could say, wow, that looks like a very advanced question. That likely means you've been answering a lot of questions correctly. So don't get frustrated, don't get mad or upset. Just make your best guess to the assessment can move you to find your just right level. Or you can say, let's take a quick break, let's stand up, let's stretch, let's breathe, and then have them come back and sit down again. When they ask for help from you, you want to say, just like when you take the test, taking tests at school or on your online platform, I can't help you find the answer. We want to find out what you know, not what I know. And it's okay if you're stuck. And you could use the following suggestions like for math, try working the problem on paper, or try using a strategy that worked on a similar question before. And it's okay if you don't know it. You're going to get some challenging questions, which means you're answering a lot of questions correctly. So make your best guess and move on to the next question. And then, of course, after the assessment, you want to celebrate them. I'm really proud of you. You did a great job taking your time, showing your work, really pushing through those challenging questions. But we'll have that available for you on our Learning Coach corner page so that you can utilize some of those prompts if you want to. But most importantly, we need you to not help your student answer any questions. We want to make sure that if you help them on the assessment, they may get lessons that don't meet their needs and it can hurt their long-term achievement. So what does help look like? Help looks like reading the question to the student. If the computer doesn't read it to them, then you don't need to read it to them unless, it's specified in like a 504 or an IEP. Giving students alternative strategies for solving a problem when they're stuck, or just flat out giving them the answer. So those are some things of when we're talking about not helping, that's what that looks like. Okay, so let's talk about after the assessment. What are we going to see in your students' iReady platform? Well, once your child has completed that diagnostic, they'll receive an individual online instruction path, and their teachers will receive targeted and detailed data that will help them to provide your child lessons that are just right for them. In the iReady personalized instruction, it provides all students with a personalized digital support. Their personalized instruction delivers powerful online lessons with real quality instruction built from the college and career readiness standards. It's driven by insights from the iReady diagnostic, and it delivers personalized instruction plans to meet each student where they are. The personalized instruction provides automated, differentiated instruction to motivate students on their paths to proficiency and growth. And finally, it complements teacher-led instruction, which allows students or the teachers to target specific skills with students who are struggling or need enrichment and challenge. This is just a couple of screenshots that show you what some of the lessons look like in a kindergarten or third grade math lesson. The iReady online lessons for math incorporate design principles. They are engaging and research-based, and they provide access to rigorous, differentiated, and grade level content that meets the needs of all learners. So this is what the K2 dashboard will look like. So if you have a second grader, once they finish their diagnostic, this is what their dashboard will look like. They'll log in and it will take them directly to the to-do screen, and students can see teacher assigned lessons in their teacher assigned section if there's been any added. If there are any assignments that are past due, they can click the down arrow to find those. And then if they click on My Path, those are iReady lessons. After they've completed the diagnostic, that's where they go to the next lesson. On the next page, or the next screen on the dashboard, if they click on the My Progress button, that's where students can see what they've recently completed and how they performed on their diagnostic and the lessons. Some key lesson stats that you can see there, it'll show you lesson time on task this week, and it also shows you lessons passed this school year and their pass rate. They can also track their lesson streak that shows the greatest number of lessons that they have passed in a row. Also on the dashboard, they can see under My Progress, they can see their completed work, and it also displays their completed lessons and scores and their diagnostic scores. And then One area that they will probably find very fun is under the My Stuff, and that's where they can go in and personalize their iReady experience by selecting a buddy and a theme, and they can use rewards that they've earned by passing iReady lessons to play games of their choice. And then the 3.5 dashboard, it's the same information is housed in the same place. It just looks a little different, a little bit more mature for our 3rd through 5th grade students. But that's, it'll take them to this screen when they logged in, and then they have the to do that shows them where their teacher assigned lessons are and where their path to go to the next lesson. And again, where they can see their learning stats and their completed work. Um, Skipped over that. They can see their completed work where what they've made on their lessons and what they've made on their diagnostic. And they also have a My Stuff page that they can go to pick out their themes and to use their rewards to play games. So for all students this year, the weekly goal is to go into iReady after they've completed their diagnostic assessment, and they're working in their weekly to complete at least 2 lessons a week in their personalized instruction. So that's what we want to see all students be able to do, that goal that they work for, so that that can reinforce the areas that they're either needing growth or maybe enrichment in, to give them some challenge. Now we're going to talk about some support resources that we have available through iReady for students and parents at home. I do have another video I wanted to share with you. I'm going to get that set up for you real quick.
Hello, I'm Ty with a message from the iReady team. But first, a question. Have you ever taken a vision test? Some letters are blurry, some are crystal clear, and when the test is over, the eye doctor knows exactly what you can see and how to help you see even better. iReady is like that, but it's not checking vision. It's telling us what your child already knows and what they need to work on next in math and reading. It's a very different kind of test than you and I grew up with. With iReady, no grades are given. It's fully expected that students will get 50% of the questions wrong, which is good because that's how teachers know what to work on with your child. iReady is normally given at school, but this year, there's no normal. Teachers are counting on us, the families, to get the same trusted results so your child's learning will stay on course, whether they're in school or at home or both. And the best way for you to help is not to help. Would you help your child with a vision test? Of course not. You'd stand back and provide no hints. It's about what your child knows, not what you know. And the great thing about this is that the test reveals that students may know more than we think. Now, there are a few things you can do. The most important being this: make sure your child takes iReady in a quiet space. The fewer distractions, the better. Other tips on how to help can be found at the link on your screen. Teachers need our help. In order for them to best support our kids, it'll take our best to get the very best of iReady.
So just a checklist to kind of review everything that we've talked about. Getting organized before the test. That means finding a quiet place for your student to take that diagnostic, checking your student's schedule in their student account for that time that's been scheduled by your teacher to take the diagnostic, to test the device your child will use to take the diagnostic. And I have a link here I'll share in the chat box in just a minute that you can actually run a really quick diagnostic on your device that your child will be testing on, and it will show you if there's any problem areas. And we also have on that Learning Coach page that I'm going to show you here in a minute, a troubleshooting guide for families if something doesn't run correctly, that you can look at the guide to see what needs to be corrected. And then making sure you gather paper and pencil for your child to use during the diagnostic. Then how to prepare and motivate them. You know, those questions that we went over, explain to them why they're taking the diagnostic and motivating them to do their best. Explain how the diagnostic works and that you can't help them with any questions. And next Wednesday, during the students' live math classes with their teachers are going to be taking them through a very similar presentation geared more towards them and showing them how to go through um, the the diagnostic process of logging in and taking the assessment and going over some very similar things with them as well. So make sure, you know, your students attend those math classes next Wednesday so that they can go through those tutorials with their teacher. Supporting your child, you know, monitoring and encouraging them as they complete the diagnostic. You can use those key phrases on the parent resource page to support for being supportive in any of the situations that may apply. And then especially don't assist your child with answering questions, because this could lead to the online lessons not being at the right level for your child and may lead to their teacher receiving inaccurate information to help them this year. And then confirming that completion. Make sure your child has fully completed that assessment and confirm it with your teacher after they get that congratulatory message before you log out of your testing session. Um, this is most of your kids will probably have digital readiness. A lot of our younger kids might not be familiar with our kindergarten and first grade kids, but if you do have a child that you feel like you need to kind of help prepare them for the digital readiness, it could just be, you know, making sure they're familiar with the computer they're going to be using, practice with using the mouse and tracking with their finger if they use the trackpad on the computer, if it's a laptop, instead of using the actual mouse. So our key takeaways today: the diagnostic allows iReady to personalize your student's online learning path and provide information to you, the parent, so you can best meet your student's needs at home and work in partnership with your teacher. It helps your student create a great testing. It's going to help you create a great testing environment for your student, but don't help them on the assessment. And then you have seen the dashboards that you can go to those dashboards and check to see how their instruction is going. You can see their diagnostic score. You can see how they're doing on their lessons, everything that your teacher can also see on their dashboard. This is a link that we have available to you on the Learning Coach page that you can go and get all kinds of other resources available there. I'm going to actually screen share and show you the that Learning Coach page and show you how to find that information. And then if Miss Taylor wouldn't mind dropping the link in the chat box for us so that you can have that link available to you. This is something that we created last year for our families. And it's got a lot of really great information on it. We have, if you go to the home page, you can scroll down and there's just some basic school information here with calendar information and your student parent handbook and everything. But at the top, you've got, there's a link to our state testing site for our elementary students that Miss J, our testing coordinator, has put together this year. It's very informative. There's lots of support and reference guides for the OLS. If you're having some issues with some things, you might check here and see if your answer could be, or the answer to your question could be found here before reaching out to your teacher or tech support. If you go to the More button, there, I know my screen is probably small, yours may be stretched out a little bit more once you go here, but grade level navigation actually takes you to each of the grade levels links on this page, where they put, the teachers in each grade level puts their newsletters each week. Elementary Tiger Tales, that's the video newsletter that I send out each week. We put those here as well. A link to our social media page. We've got some computer science activities that you can do at home with your students each month. We have an intervention center. We have ACAP summative resources. We're updating our elementary clubs. We're getting ready to update that information. And then, so if you go here to benchmark testing, that's where you can find the information that I've been referencing today for iReady. There's the iReady Family Center that takes you to that location where that I had the screenshot up where all the different resources are. Here's the technical and troubleshooting guide for families. And then you've got the supportive phrases to say to students while testing. Here's the link to show you how to understand your students' iReady diagnostic results. And then this is just a frequently asked questions about the math domains for families. And then this is one of the videos that I shared with you earlier today. So I am going to give you this link. I've got to stop screen sharing and shift. But I want to give you this link in the chat box that you can actually do a systems check on your computer. And I'll kind of screen share that for you. You can go here under where it says system check, and you can actually run a systems check to see if your computer has any issues. It runs fairly quickly. Looks like it's not going to screen share that because it's on a different tab. Okay, so I just ran a configuration on my computer, and then it comes up and it tells you, you know, your operating system, your browser, your cookies, your JavaScript, all of that. If it passes, you can go to the technical support guide if any of that did not pass, and look to see how that can be fixed before you do your testing session next week. So I believe that's the end of our presentation. Because we are in webinar mode, if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. But thank you all so much for coming and learning about this new platform that your students are going to have access to this year. We're very excited about the resources and the information it's going to provide us here at the school to better help your students and have a more tailored, personalized plan of instruction for math for our students, and the support that we'll be able to provide our learning coaches and our students at home this year. So I'm going to stop the recording, and we will hang